much? All right. Well, how much of a prick was Steve Jobs? Steve Jobs sounded like a real asshole. I don't know how I don't know how true that is. Well, it sounds pretty true, and a lot of videos and stuff report that he was kind of like a prickety prick. But the fact that they made 2 movies on this guy within like a 3-year span is kind of insane. Like the fact that Ashton Kutcher did, I didn't think it was that bad. But the fact that I guess they did such a shitty job, they had to remake the movie 2-3 years later, just goes to show that he was an important guy. It's like, dude, you fucked up the movie that bad, bro. Come on. We're redoing it 2 years later. That's mad funny. I think Ashton Kutcher's Jobs came out in like 2013. And then Steve Jobs came out in 2015. A little bit of 2 different premises if you guys watched it and you're like, bro, that's not true. All right, relax. I know. Kind of a different sides of the story, different ways of attacking the story of Steve Jobs and Apple. But still, like, it was just, like, this guy was so important. They made 2 fucking movies on this guy. 2 movies. They can't even... At least they didn't make any TV shows. You know he was important. They didn't make no TV shows on him. They said, screw that. We're making straight movies on my boy. Because screw TV shows. Exactly. But I was watching, it was actually pretty fire. I have to say. I was watching 2007. I was watching the iPhone release. When he first released the iPhone. And all right. I don't even want to say it, but it was kind of cool. All the nerds are, if you're a nerd and you're like, bro, it's like, bro, not me. It's like all the nerds are sitting there like, oh, Steve Jobs. And he's like, dude, it was lit though. He's like, we got the iPod, we got the phone, and we got internet connection all in one. And the crowd's like, oh, dude. And my little fucking 20-year-old ass like, oh my God, bro, my iPhone's right here. Dude, I was hyping out. It was crazy. And then he showed, because all right, so I have a MacBook, but I don't have a Max, right? So I don't have the mouse. Did he create the first like mouse? That's what he was coming like. But he created the first mouse for the Mac. So I don't know if that's the first entire mouse. I don't want to give him the credit, but if he invented that, that's pretty badass. And then, all right, anyone who had an iPod, like an OG iPod. Wait, no, was it yeah, it was an iPod, right? Because the OG iPods weren't touchscreen. So yeah, dude, when he released the multi-touch though, like think about that. You use your finger, and and like, oh my God, I'll talk about it. So he was talking about he invented the iPod spin wheel. Remember the spin wheel? Remember the fucking spin wheel? You're on your iPod and you're spinning, and it's got like, you're like, dude, how does my thumb do this, bro? You're like, oh, I can't get my thumb. Dude, that shit was lit. And then he's like, we invented all that stuff, but now we invented multi-touch. And everyone's like, oh, right? They're throwing the bras and underwear on stage and shit, and they're fucking throwing their computers over their head. They want a MacBook. But bro, I'm telling you, it was insane. Think about it. Multi-touch right here. And you're listening to it and you're like, bro, did anybody else invent this? Like, I'm listening to it last night. I'm like, did anybody else invent this shit? And he's like, and believe we do have a patent on this shit. I was like, yes, sir, he does, bro. Oh my God. Like, you invented touchscreen, right? Apple invented touchscreen shit. The highest quality. I maybe touchscreen was around, but multi-touch system. My camera right now recording me has the multi-touch system. So, I mean, like, Steve Jobs must have invented that shit. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's crazy. And, like, watching it in 2007 and, like, seeing it manifest, it was cool. It was cool. It was really cool. It was really cool, bro. Steve Jobs. Too bad he couldn't fucking... Oh, I was about to hit him with a dark joke. I'm gonna hit him with a dark joke. I'm just gonna keep that to myself, dog. But yo, if he was so smart, I'm gonna skip the joke and just talk about it. If he was so smart, why would he say what he said? No to chemotherapy, right? He had cancer, and I think he had prostate cancer, right? prostate cancer is pretty. Could be wrong. I don't know exactly what cancer, but I know he had a severe cancer, and he kind of said no to the chemo. He said no to the treatments, and he was like, "I'm doing that plant-based shit." He's like, "Call me that plant-based king, because I'm that plant-based king." Yeah, feel me? So Steve Jobs became the plant-based king and died the plant-based king. But no, I think he tried to what was he doing? He's taking herbs, right? He's taking the herb medicine. That's not gonna come on, bro. Come on, bro. If that shit works, everybody's gonna do that shit, bro. Come on, Steve Jobs. You could figure out that fucking shit, but you couldn't figure out that fucking that herbal essence wasn't gonna save your life. Come on, Steve Jobs. You kidding me? You kidding me? And the UFC, what does Dana White think he's doing? Dana White out here thinking he's buying an island. He's got a freaking fighting island.